So by now, you have for sure probably heard of what is happening in the world of marketing and AI in recent days that is making an impact on how people are marketing, how people are using AI to do marketing, right? And of course, this has been going on now for some time, years in fact, but of course, more recently, in the past year and a half or so, it's been increasingly happening at an accelerating rate that is just, on a course to seemingly radically change the entire nature of the landscape in marketing. Now, I've been saying this and talking about it for a long, long time, and you might, have seen, I'm sure, on other channels how this is impacting marketers and marketing in general. And what I would say to that is, yes, there are a lot of changes happening right now already, right, that have happened and that are happening and that are likely to happen in the near future. At the same time, I would say that, it is not complete. It is not a done deal. We are very much in the FAFO area, right? In which people are literally throwing things at the wall to see what sticks, experimenting with all kinds of different ideas, and hoping to get the best results and tap into some new, main veins of, what are possibly very mineable, rich veins of knowledge and opportunity. So, what exactly is happening that is affecting marketing, and how does it impact us all? Well, first of all, it's creating fast pivots, right? And major fast pivots. So much so that when people are switching jobs now, they're practically switching careers, right? Or if they're switching clients, they're taking on new clients that they've never worked with before, and they're starting to shed some of the older ones, maybe that are, that they've been working with maybe for a while. Maybe those clients are selling their companies, who knows what, or they're just adding new companies to their agency roster, and they're realizing that the new clients, if anybody, the new clients expect AI to be part and parcel of the mix in some way. And it's not even like, oh, we might think about doing, no, like it's part of their form from the beginning, right? Now, is that for every product? Obviously not. Are there still a zillion products that are not related to AI? Yes, obviously most products are still not yet related to AI, but a massive number are, and that number is growing, right? And at some point in the future, it is likely to be a significant portion of all the products, and at some point in the future beyond that, it is likely to become maybe even the majority of products, okay? Now, what kind of products are not tapped into AI? Well, educational courses aren't necessarily. There are many that are, but some are not. Some are just traditional online courses, right? There's still companies selling DVDs. I know it sounds not into 2024, but there's still companies selling DVDs that somehow you're supposed to play in 24. I guess you have to find an old DVD player or DVD drive, attach it to your computer somehow. Like, think about it, like you have to have a pretty old machine at this point to have a DVD drive on it. So I'm not sure how that's even, like most machines that come today, they just come with the hard drive, right? And you need to ask for a DVD or whatever, because normally, like even I guess if you buy Windows or something, or any operating system, that might come with a DVD or something, but normally if they're buying a Windows machine, it comes pre-installed, and they just would download anything they need. Anyway, how you doing? And And so it's, like a lot of computers don't have drive, external or whatever, CD-ROM drives, DVD drives, all that stuff. They have USB drives that you can attach, or external hard drives you can attach to USB, that kind of thing, right? So, but yeah, there's still a market for, people selling DVDs of all kinds of things, learning languages, learning crafts, learning hobbies, whatever. But all those things, if they're not already available online, like to download, will eventually be. If not, they'll go the way of the dinosaur, because at some point people will not have those kind of drives available anymore. So it will be increasingly challenging just to have that kind of a technology medium in use. Anyway, so one major pivot that people are finding themselves doing is obviously crafting the basic business material. Everything from, the marketing roadmap, the strategy, the tactics, all this stuff. It's not fully commoditized yet, but because every business has its own niche things it has to do, but it's very close. Like, you can get a really solid, it's still is better to do it by hand, in my opinion, but because you want to make sure it's tweaked just right and everything else. But if you're looking just for a fast solution to crafting all these documents, it can be done with these tools, with large language model tools. Pick your choice. Right? They're quite good at that. Any kind of business form, document, template, whatever, spreadsheet type thing, it can be created very neatly and very quickly, and really spot on accurately for your specific business. But you need to obviously go over it, edit it, tweak it, make sure it fits your exact business, because there will be times when it will suggest things, like blast out messages on social medias, for example, as a tactic, right? And it'll suggest 5 different social medias. But when your client is new, for example, you don't want to spend time on 5 different social media unless they have a big budget, right? You want to spend time on one where there's actual growth potential, right? So, for example, people are ranting and raving on X about how great it is, Twitter or whatever, and saying how great it is, and how it's, with all these algorithm changes they're doing, new channels or small channels are getting more exposure, and on and on and on. So they're saying it's like the greatest thing since sliced bread, and it's, a huge opportunity to grow. Well, that may or may not be true, right? The data has yet to bear itself out, right, over time. There are definitely new channels or small channels getting more exposure now than they did, a week or two ago. However, it's not yet seen whether or not that will actually translate into many small channels growing into bigger channels. And if they do, well, hang on, there's only one way to give new channels more exposure as a whole. And that's if you do what? Obviously cut out the amount of exposure being given to the larger channels, right? I mean, because you got to trade one for one, impression for impression, right? So the way that you do that is you're actually impacting the larger channels. And so when people are saying, oh, this is a great way to make a larger channel, well, maybe, but now you've just reduced the value of the larger channel because they're getting less eyeballs. So people that work their butts off to get larger channels, and I'm not saying it's great the way it was, there was definitely problems of skew favoring certain channels to be big, and that wasn't great. And those channels became big and established themselves as businesses, whatever, making revenues from X. And now suddenly they're negatively impacted because of their success. So, it's a bit ironic. Maybe it's good because maybe a lot of larger channels are frankly garbage, that people just followed out of curiosity, but they don't interact with much, etc. It really does come down to the quality of the content and how much engagement they get, that really should be the driving generator for, or determiner, the determining factor for how much attention a channel really gets from the bots or from the algorithm in general. So the question is, how would you use that to your advantage as a growth strategy, right? Well, again, if the AI is suggesting to you to go on X and post on X, whatever, keep in mind you're not going to see any growth with a new channel or any channel unless you're posting like at least 100 messages a day, and they have to be, you can only reply to certain people and not to others, or it harms your score. You can only have so many followers versus following, or following versus followers, or it hurts your score. You can only interact with, it's just crazy. The list of algorithmic rules. You can't tag anyone in messages. You can only tag people in comments that are reply tos. So you have to have people replying for you. You can't put links in any message, like at all. It just harms you. The only messages you can put links in are if you're, again, replying to comments. And it's best to do it like an external account that's not related to yours. So, everything has to, like, the whole point of this, we're cleaning up Twitter and we're making it more focused on Twitter thing, is BS, really, because by preventing people from putting links in directly through their own account or tagging people, A, it's making the site more antisocial, right? And B, you're actually forcing people to gamify the product, and not in a good way. Like, you're forcing people to use bots in order to go and post comments that have links in them and tags and stuff like that. Right? You're forcing people to create, at least, if not bots, but at least fake accounts or whatever, or second and third accounts, just so they can comment on stuff. And it makes it very much not a great product, right? And as a marketer, so for example, that is not, that is one platform that is not necessarily the best to use for a new channel or a small channel, despite all the raving, wonderful things that appear to be on the horizon but are not yet developed. By the way, there's also the declaration a couple days ago, maybe last week or so, that Twitter is getting rid of the likes function, right? The heart function, whatever. They're going to get rid of that and switch it to something else, or just get rid of it entirely. And why does that matter? Well, it matters because that used to be, even though it's a vanity metric, it was a very big metric in terms of telling the algorithm, what content is being engaged with, what content is being liked, and therefore what content to promote. Now, without that, they're going to have other content being promoted, etc. So that actually could be a good thing, but it also could be not a good thing. And again, time and data will bear it out. So you have to choose your platforms carefully, and you have to do a lot of consideration for what technologies and platforms you use, which AI platforms you use, which social media platforms you use, all these things. It's, there's a lot to go over on this topic. This is just one of many, I'm sure, quick talks I will make about it. I just wanted to point out these things because it is, in fact, relevant to how you market these days in 2024. So, yeah, that's it. Happy marketing. I'll continue this talk later.